from the Washington Post Right Turn blog, Jennifer Rubin, and Democratic strategist Steve McMahon. All right, we want to start with here's what we know, Perry. We know the president says pass a debt limit increase with no strings attached. That's his message to Congress. We also know that any potential plan B that others have come up for the White House to use, the White House has completely put it off the table. And we know that some Democrats are begging the White House for a plan B. What is he going to say on this? Does he owe Harry Reid an explanation?
He does. The thing is, he ruled out the 14th Amendment option 2 years ago very explicitly. They said
and they still continue. Right.
They ruled out the $1 trillion coin, which is going to be a bad idea anyway. They ruled that out smartly over the weekend. So now I think he said, I'm not going to negotiate. The reality is, an agreement that has tax increases in it, but also has spending cuts, but also the debt ceiling increase would not be a negotiation maybe in his mind, but still might get the deal done. That's what I think is going to be required here.
And Jennifer, what's interesting is I keep hearing from Republican leadership that they would love to actually, they don't want to use, the debt limit is not where they want to have this focus. They want to have it on the government shutdown, the continuing resolution, but they don't know how to get their members to sort of see it the way they see it.
That's exactly right. A long time ago, in the dim, dark ages of 2011, they thought that using the debt ceiling was a great idea and got them great leverage. They have climbed up the mountain and climbed right down the mountain so many times with this president.
I don't think they climbed down the mountain.
They slide.
I think it was a slide.
Yeah, good point. Talk about a cliff.
Yeah.
You're right. They don't really want to play that game. They don't want to be accused of not paying the country's bills. They don't want to be accused of wrecking havoc with the economy. But how do they use that leverage in order to finally get to cuts, which the president has always said will be coming, but never seem to come in their eyes?
Well, Steve, though, going back to the White House here, boy, the markets would love to hear that the White House says, look, it doesn't matter what they do, I will use executive action to pay the bills.
Right, and at some point I think the markets might hear that, but for right now you've got to do this stance if you're the White House politically. And also they understand that the Republicans lost on the debt ceiling, or they lost last time. They lost when they shut down the government.
The president didn't win, though.
Well, no,
it was sort of
politically.
He was battered. It took him
look at the numbers,
3 to 4. Look, he recovered, but it took him 3 to 4 months. It was a lot of wasted political capital.
You're talking about last time.
I'm talking about
just on the fiscal cliff.
No doubt
recently.
on the cliff.
So right now the Republicans are vulnerable. They don't have any leverage, and the only people who have figured that out are Senate Republicans. The House Republicans still think they do. They want to shut down the government, even though Newt Gingrich himself says that was crazy when we did it before. And they're on this path to do that.
I think Steve's behind. I don't think that's what the Republican leadership is
I want to read
thinking
you
at this point.
Well,
certainly not the Senate.
Well, the Washington Post today reported.
Kathy McMorris, right? She is saying, well, we may have to give the rank and file a government shutdown.
Well, there's lots of ways to do the government shutdown. The government shutdown may come in the context of the continuing resolution as opposed to the debt ceiling. There's lots of cliffs that we are coming up upon right now. So she was, I think, specifically vague in that case. Right. Listen, the Republicans and the Democrats and the White House and the markets know that it is very dicey for the president to try to unilaterally do this, and it would create havoc in the market. It wouldn't settle. It would create havoc because it's likely unconstitutional. You don't know whether the debt issued under that is going to hold up or not, is going to be justifiable. I think that would create absolute havoc. Plus, there would be a political firestorm about the president's power and legitimacy.
You know, Congress decided to give themselves this power. It is sort of it was not, it's not enumerated. They said give themselves this power.
Well,
it was a very surprising thing when the Senate Democrats wrote that letter to me. I knew that's what their view was, but it is very unusual to see in Washington institutions say we don't want this power.
We can't do it.
That is
it was
very striking. We shouldn't underplay how it was.
Hold on a second. A grown-up stepping in and saying we're not going to let the United States not pay its bills wouldn't cause shock and tremors on Wall Street. They would applaud it because it so seldom happens that a grown-up actually steps in and does something in this town. And if it takes executive action to keep the Republicans from closing down the government and having another temper tantrum, then I think the American public...
That's a political reaction, not an economic reaction. The markets want stability.
Well, they want, and that's the thing. And I think what you guys are disagreeing on, but the markets want stability. The question is, would they consider a promise of executive action stability or instability?
Right.
And I think that that's...
I don't think they're going to make that promise in this press conference.